Y'all, now I'm over here tussling, okay? Tussling with imposter syndrome while recording a video about overcoming imposter syndrome. You ready to get into it? Let's get into it. Without further ado, here we go. I hope you guys have had a great week. All of the good things that you hope to happen and that much more. And if not, I pray that it does come your way in fullness and abundance. So, you guys, let's get right into this video. I'm trying to work on cutting out all of the extra fluff so that I'm not wasting time. You guys, last week we were in week 2 of discussing imposter syndrome. And video 1, we kind of fleshed out what imposter syndrome is and all of the things, why it was important and why I thought it was really important for me to actually dissect it. Last week, we actually went into detail about one of the forms of imposter syndrome, and that was perfectionism. And that was a stellar video. I actually rewatched it, and I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I'm telling you, that imposter syndrome ate me up, baby. Because let me tell you, how many views did I get? 12. Not a like, not a comment. And so I have been in my mind like, girl, this ain't your thing. This ain't what you're supposed to be doing. Go ahead and move on, baby. Do something else. But I had to remind myself of my why. And I also had to remember that this is also helpful and therapeutic for me. So all of the things that I want to come, they will come in time. But in the process, I definitely want to live in the moment and stay focused on my why. And things will fall into place as they should, when they should. Okay, so you guys, I got a little fancy. I've been progressively getting a little fancier with my videos. And so here we are on StreamYard. And last week I created a slide. And I want to hop back into that slide because I want to create some visuals for you to hear as well as see. And then we incorporate writing, touching. So you have to think about what you're thinking about because you're going to write out these things in a journal prompt. So let's get into it. This week we are, like I said, dissecting the soloist. The soloist. And let me let me get rid of me. The soloist, it's characterized by feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt, despite clear evidence of competence and success. It particularly affects those who see themselves as lone wolves or self-made individuals. Listen, is it or is it not shots fired? How I loaded my own gun and shot myself. Ain't that crazy? I definitely am a soloist. I feel like many of these forms of imposter syndrome I can identify with in one way or another. And so the soloist, I definitely growing up, I was one of 5, but I was one of 5, so I wasn't the only child. But I feel like I was given a lot of responsibility. And so I felt like a lot of the things that I did it was like sole responsibility. You take care of this, you take care of that. And so it made it very easy for me to hop into things and take care of them on my own. I wasn't necessarily groomed to ask for help. I was groomed and raised to be the help. So that very much made it easy for me to become the soloist or feel or see myself as the lone wolf. Just last week, we dissected some of the ways you may feel yourself to be a quote unquote suffer from imposter syndrome, or more specifically, the perfectionist, and how I strongly feel like your upbringing has or will contribute to you getting there one way or another. And so that was my way of identifying myself as a soloist. Also, seeing myself as a lone wolf. You kind of run um, when I postured myself to be the help. So I was always giving. So I rarely, if ever, looked for people to help me. Now, there were people who would hop in and help, but for the most part, I felt like I was being a bit of an inconvenience. And so I didn't want to ask. And so the people who usually are able to help me don't ask. They just say, hey, here, take this, or here, I'll take care of this and I'll take care of that, which is the way I offer help too, because I don't want you to feel like um, this isn't something I want to do. So rather than asking, can I just hop in because I see the need. So um, I am a words girl. I will say this over and over and over and over and over. Let me actually remove me again. I'm a words girl, you guys, and I very much like to dive into definitions. And one of the words that stuck out to me in the definition of soloist um, is inadequate, um, not adequate, not enough, or good enough, insufficient, inadequate equipment, also not capable, was inadequate as a leader. Much of my much of my way of gauging my value is whether or not that person was satisfied. That's how I gauged whether or not I was considered adequate or inadequate. And I have been learning over the years that I need to shift my perspective and I need to put me back in the center of my journey. Most of my life, people have been the center of my journey, and I gauged my value whether or not they were quote unquote happy or satisfied with who I was, how I showed up, if and if I was a benefit to them. Most times, for the most part, if and when you do show up for people and it's from a sincere and pure heart, you have done your job. There are going to be people that I have learned the hard way that you show up for, and they're either never satisfied or they're never going to put themselves in a position to be self-sufficient. And because they're not showing up as self-sufficient once you've helped them along, then you're always going to feel like you didn't do something. You're going to keep showing up until you feel like you've gotten them to a certain place. But surprise, boo-boo. Some people just never want to become more independent and then create set themselves up in a way for them to also show up for you and essentially pour back into you what you've poured into them. And so that is going to forever drain you. And so you have to put yourself back into the driver's seat and gauge what is sufficient for you, where you're not feeling depleted and you also know that you're coming from a pure place. Um, I, in addition to us reading the definition and focusing, dissecting the definition and what some of these words mean, I also want to go over, let me take me off the screen again, over real-time examples. One that I thought of is one, I have help. If I have help, then that minimizes my ability to feel proud of my accomplishment. Let me tell you, baby, let me tell you, I struggle with that regularly. That is some of the feedback that I receive in my home from my child, from the man that I am dating, and also from my job. My supervisor is very proud and satisfied with the work that I do, but she very much encourages me regularly that I need to um, lean on my village. And you know what the terrible part is? It's not that I don't want to. I genuinely do not know how to. I naturally, unconsciously know how to show up and support. I naturally know how to show up in a room or a space and create a great space. Like I know how to organize it, clean it, make it look better than before I came in the room. Those things come very natural to me, and so I don't think about those things. But one thing I do not know how to do is to utilize my environment, and set myself up in a place to where um, there's healthy give and take. I struggle, baby. Do you hear me? And so that's one of the things that I absolutely have added to my list of prayers. Teach me how to, show me examples of, and create a support system around me that helps groom me to be better at utilizing my village. Everybody wants to help and everybody wants to receive help. And I don't want to be selfish and always giving and not accepting, because it just, even though you feel like you're not being a burden, that can come off a way when you're always denying help. Real time example number two. It's a sign that I'm unable to do things independently, which makes me less valuable. First, let me circle back because I kind of moved fast through number one. Another thing is I've experienced in the past with um, not being able to feel proud of my accomplishments when not everybody, but when some people would offer help, they would throw the help in my face. And I would be like, I can't even feel proud of this accomplishment because every time I bring it up, so and so always be like, yeah, and you wouldn't even did that if it wasn't for me. That left such a nasty, nasty taste in my mouth. So because of that, I quickly adopted this mindset of, okay, then I'll offer help and I won't accept help, because when I win, I'm about to be flexing. And when I flex, I don't want you in the background saying nothing. Now, what was the solution that could have been to that? I could have had a very simple conversation saying that's not very nice and it makes me not want to accept help from you, and kind of put that back on the person while also learning to continue utilizing my village. But no, what did I do? I took it on and I wanted to get in front of that and control how things were going. And so, in order to control you not being able to jump in and say, "Ooh, I helped her do this or that," I got in control and just cut you out altogether. So then I don't have to worry about figuring out whether or not you would be part of the scenario. Also, another way of me trying to control um, um, that is I could have absolutely acknowledged you did help me with that, and I appreciate it. But I definitely know that I put in the work, and I feel proud about the work that I've done. So that is how I could have moved through that, and how I'm choosing to embrace that moving forward in my life. Okay, so going back to two, it's a sign that I'm unable to do things independently, which makes me feel less valuable. One and two are pretty much like the same difference, but there's nothing like being able to give and receive in a healthy way. I would have to be honest. I have been in relationships, a lot of the relationships that I end up in romantically, non-romantically, platonic, business wise, they were always positions where I was the support because that came natural. And it supported the way that I wanted to show up in the world. And so then I hit a brick wall, unconsciously realizing that every entity, um, major area in my life, I was the help and I was getting burnt out. And so with me getting burnt out, it was showing up in my attitude, in my energy, in my mood. And so everything that I had to do moving forward after I hit that max was just like, if you're not showing up to offer any help, I mean, I'm just like, don't ask me for nothing, don't expect nothing. I mean, just literally spazzing out in that moment because I didn't realize just how much I positioned myself to give, and didn't create an environment not for people not to give to me, but for me to receive it with grace and compassion, care and thankfulness. And so that is definitely where the journey that I'm on, that I'm headed to. I'm just, even when I'm doing these videos, I just be like, oh, that just feels so good listening to these things because they really help me while I'm also going through them. So the title of this video is Journaling Your Way Out of Imposter Syndrome. And what better way, I can come back on the screen, I hope. What better way um, to help you, but to offer you journal prompts. And so this journal prompt is, be completely transparent. One thing I am going to consistently tell you, you cannot show up transparent for anybody if you are not willing to show up transparent for yourself. I also, one of my sayings is, however you do one thing, you do everything. Okay. And so taking myself to another level, I am having to take everything very seriously. And being extremely transparent is imperative. And be transparent about the journal, the question, and your answer. What is your narrative around shunning help? Okay. What is your narrative around shunning help? I just went into minds about shunning help. There were people very close to me who would dim my light when I had a win. And because of that feeling, I was like, okay, well, then I won't include anybody in on my journey so that they can't be like, oh, but I'm the reason let me go ahead and cut you out of that, baby, so we can get there. So next, who is in your life? Who in your life also did that? Not only did I create the narrative for myself, but I also had it reinforced. I grew up in a single home, a home with my mom, who I saw do everything. So this being able to adopt that came easy. So that is like, I'm telling you, I'm just like having this amazing aha moment. Um, and let me see, how did that affect their life? How did it affect that person's life who you watched take some of these same, doing the same things that you did? And last but not least, journal prompt. What one step can you implement that will start your journey on not needing to do anything solo? I'm telling you, I am, life is just so sweet and yummy to me. It's so yummy, and growth and growing and learning is just so yum. I just get excited at how I'm going to show up for myself during these journal prompts because they feel great, because I know that my freedom is on the other side. And so I'm like eager to get to this. And so answering that question, what one step, because everything begins with the first step. What one thing can I implement um, to start this journey of not always being solo dolo? I can allow people to show up the way they want to show up for me and accept it. So that means I'm have to do my best because I can tend to be in multiple places mentally because I'm always doing something, but do my best to show up present so that when someone does say, "Oh, I'll help you with that," my second nature doesn't kick in and say, "No, I got it," because that's what it does. And so that's one thing that I can actively do is be present, not with my phone in my hand, not looking at my computer if I'm at work, but giving the person our undivided attention, fully taking in what they're telling me and or asking me and or offering me, and actively say yes. I genuinely hope that this video was helpful to you. I am doing my best to show up as transparent as possible because this just it these things are coming out of my soul and they very much um are helping to take me to the next level in my life, and I just feel strongly that I want to be transparent so that I can be a light for you, an example of what to do and or what not to do, because I don't always have to be your journey, but I can also be your journey of what you don't want so that you don't waste time. You guys, I look forward to talking to you guys next week. And I actually want to kind of give you a sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about next week. I went to a graduation today, and one of the things that showed up for me when I was listening to them is it was said, when your light blinds those around you, give them sunshine and give them sunglasses and keep on shining. When your light blinds those around you, give them sunglasses and keep on shining. So I want to talk about that next week, and I'm super excited because we are heading to a journey of more, and more means showing up fully for yourself, and showing up fully for yourself is going to blind some people around you. And so we are not going to backpedal, and we're not going to revert back to where we were, because we are moving straight forward ahead. And so I hope you guys show up next week and sit with me while we go over that, because I'm super excited. Until next time, you guys have a phenomenal week, and we will be in contact soon. Bye. Mwah, mwah, mwah.